Welcome to Fresh Catholic, a podcast for those who are converting, reverting, or simply want a fresh perspective of the Catholic faith to help them to open their hearts and minds to become closer to the love and goodness of Christ. My daily prayer is that I will be a bright light to others, to be filled with the love and light of Christ, so that when people look at me, they see Him radiating out from me for His glory. Hello and welcome. I'm Lori Balderas and I'm so happy you're here. Where in the world am I? Well, clearly it's like a gale force wind and it's winter time where we are, but Fresh Catholic has taken our life on the road. We're leading a van life now. And for those of you who don't know, Simon and I left our rental house and we had a studio there, and we moved out and moved into our van. And so we're going to travel around the United States and we're going to be checking things out and just experiencing life on the road and people out in the United States, because Simon's been traveling around with work and I haven't been. So I think it'll be a really good eye-opener and fun adventure for the two of us. However, it is quite an adjustment. So we're going to be talking today about just, I kind of look at this trip we're on and this new adventure we're going on as kind of a metaphor for just life in general. There's been all sorts of things we've gone through in the past, I think it's been now a month and a half, because we started really kind of getting ready for this adventure at the beginning. Well, we've been preparing for this for 2 years. And then the past few months, we slowly started, I quit my job as the wedding coordinator at our church, and we were winding down other jobs we were doing. We were letting friends and family know that we are, heading out. And we had to give our notice for our rental house. And so honestly, really started going for it the beginning of January, packing and prepping, and it's been exhausting. Simon and I, that move was really exhausting, and I've moved 22 times in my life, and this one was extra hard physically, emotionally. We're a lot older now. We both had moments of lots of anxiety, and I would catch myself just standing in the middle of the room crying on certain moments, certain days. I would look over at Simon. Sometimes he'd be teary-eyed. It was honestly just, making this commitment of this thing we wanted to do was, it's a life-changing thing. And it just got me to thinking, sometimes we get really set in our ways. We lead a certain life. We do certain things every day. Certainly, I am I like things a certain way. I'm very particular. I like a schedule. I like things to have order. And our life certainly was, we were finding that we weren't having a lot of joy in our lives. And we were just decided to be really proactive, and I've said in past episodes, I personally felt like my relationship with Christ was kind of getting put over in a corner. Even though I was praying throughout the day, to me it wasn't good quality with our Lord. So our goal with this adventure was to have more peace, more calm, more quiet. Well, I have to say that hasn't happened yet. It's been quite an adjustment, and that's okay. I mean, I even told Simon one day, when people retire, they go through quite a process, and I think we're going through a process, but, we definitely wanted to simplify our life, so we sold a bunch of our belongings, a bunch of our furniture, things like that. That was, I had a lot of people say, well, was that freeing to you that you were getting rid of things? Yes, to some degree. It was like, oh, this is great. Downsizing was great. On the other hand, it was very emotional, especially as we got down to it towards the end. And when we were moving out of the house, there were things we were just having to really just get rid of. we sold things, we donated an abundant amount of things. But then we had to throw away a lot of things. And for me, that was really difficult because Simon and I don't have a lot of excess money. And so things we've spent money on and we were just kind of like giving them away, throwing them away. It was really hard. But ultimately, you know, we don't need all those things. I just wish we could have like given some of the things we threw away to people who needed them. And at the last minute, there wasn't any time. And, you know, it was such a struggle with this move. And there were moments, like I say, where I was just so anxious. I would just stand there and cry, and I was so overwhelmed. That got to the point I didn't want to listen to any music. I didn't want to listen to any podcasts. I didn't want to talk to anybody. And all I did was live in my head in silence and pray. That's all I did. Not all I did, but that's what I needed to do. I needed just like, where all day I was just saying, please, Lord, help us, please. I would hear Simon like in the other room going, Lord, Jesus, please help us. I mean, we were just really struggling. I felt like we were just like rocking in a boat, you know, on the waves. And we were just like, it was really, really hard. We were so exhausted. We would just like go to bed, just exhausted, and have to wake up the next day. And it seemed like it was never ending. And I have to tell you, you know, when you really want to do something that you know is really good and positive, and you're desiring more time with the Lord and more peace in your life, boy, Satan does not like that. He wants to try to really rock your boat, really detour you, really discourage you. We had moments of huge discouragement of just like, are we doing the right thing? Is this right? You know, some people in our family are struggling with us leaving. You know, it's hard when your little grandchild, you know, is crying and saying they don't want you to leave. And, you know, it's rough, but we're trying to do these things because we think it will ultimately be better for us, our marriage, our faith, and
Hi, Lori.
Hi, Simon.
I just want to make sure this is part of the thing. Just the microphone is the little windshield came off. Okay. All right. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, producer and husband Simon. Okay. Well, anyway, so you know, we have talked to each other in moments where it's been like, Simon will be in a really bad mood. He'll be having a really hard time, or I'll be having a really hard time. And we'll both address the fact that we have to stay focused. We have to stay on what we want to do here. We don't want to be thrown off track. And, you know, it is showing us that we're working together. Somebody said to me, I've had a few people say to me, you're living in a van. What happens if you guys don't get along? I mean, you can't escape each other. And I said, I know, but I guess that's okay because we need to try to figure it out. Like maybe that's a good thing that we can't like escape and you know, I mean, we can always say, I'm going to take a walk, or I need to go step outside or whatever. But this is really, I don't want to say forcing because that sounds like a negative connotation, but this is really enabling us to really be together in our marriage. Like we've never been alone the whole time we've been married. So this is great. This is something I've been praying about for a long time, that I would like to spend some alone time with my husband, and for us to, like I say, have peace and calm. I'm saying that as I'm sitting here in like the most crazy windstorm. But even though we're like super, hang on.
Straighten it up. It's bending over.
Sorry, this is part of it, guys. We're not in a like nice, cozy, warm, shielded studio at the moment. As I was saying, sorry, we have to, you know, again, I'm in a windstorm here, people. Imagine if I was a newscaster, you know, how they're always being blown around in the wind, those poor people. Anyway, so we've learned a lot of things on this trip so far. We've only been out in the van traveling for a couple of weeks, and it has been good, but it has been, lots of adjustments. But I think that's how life is. Whether you're in a van traveling around or you're at home and your life is changing because maybe, you are just became retired, or maybe you are new, empty nesters, and you're having to adjust to like a new way of doing your life, or maybe you just had a baby, or you just changed jobs, or you just moved. There's all these adjustment periods, and the thing is, we have to really rely on the Lord to guide us in the direction He wants us to go, and we need to be really open to what He wants for us and have that open mind. Like Simon and I are traveling around. We want to see, where we want to find a home to live. And we both just have the expectation of, we feel God's going to show us where we should go. And that's what we would like to do now. Now, we are open to if something comes up and we're not supposed to do it, we'll know that too. There's been a few times our plans have been changed, and it has been frustrating. I'll admit, it's like I'll go, well, wait a second, what are we supposed to be doing? And ultimately, there's a reason why something gets, plans get changed, or you need to reroute your thinking figuratively and literally. So we're just trying to really put all of our trust in the Lord and know that He is with us. And I was telling Simon this morning, we had just like the biggest wind, the biggest rain in our van. It's a little unnerving because the van is like swaying about, and I'm hoping that it's not going to leak and everything. And the first thing that popped into my head this morning, I was hearing this wind just coming, and I was remembering in the Bible where I don't know the exact spot it is, but you'll know this reading, where it's like when the rains come and buffet the house, and there's wind and rain. If you're on a solid foundation, you're going to be fine. If you're on shaky foundation, you're not going to make it. And Simon and I have had many trying moments in our lives and in our marriage. And that just gave me such calm and peace this morning. Like I was starting to feel a little bit anxious and worried. And then I remembered that passage in the Bible, and I thought, it just gave me such calm and peace, because I thought, I'm laying in this cozy van, in this cozy bed. The Lord's going to take care of us. We're safe. We're fine. And it just gave me peace. And so I think that's what I've been trying to do on this trip, is when I'm having a struggle, when I'm having something that I'm feeling frustrated about, or I'm not feeling super well in any way, I'm praying about it. Yesterday I was washing dishes. I was in a lot of pain. I was bent over, and I was really having a hard time. I was really struggling. And the thing that came into my head was, Lord, I'm going to lift this up. I'm going to offer this up to all the people who are struggling more than I am, who do this day to day, in really bad situations. And this is only taking me a minute, and I can make it. And Lord, I know you're with me, and you're going to give me the strength. So I think that's what this trip is going to do, is it's going to open my eyes to how other people are living and what other people are doing. And that even though we're trying to lead a more, simple life, that even in that there's adjustments, and even in that we have to get acclimated. And I don't want anybody to give up hope in whatever situation they're in, because it's going to be okay. And you just have to stay strong and focused on the Lord, and He's going to help you in whatever you're doing. And so, I appreciate that everybody has been, very patient with Fresh Catholic, that we have had, these revisit episodes, and that we have a lot of people that want to be guests. I have a lot of people in the queue ready to go. And you know what the Lord's telling me right now? He's telling me we either need to take a break or finish this episode. And we're back. So as it turns out, I was right. The Lord poured rain on us the second I said, should I cut or end the episode entirely, it literally started pouring rain. We dodged into the van, and so we've given it a couple of days, and now it's very blue sky. It's very nice. It's chilly, but I'm back. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of continue what I was talking about before, and since I did the last recording, there has been more moments of just really putting our trust in the Lord. We have definitely had our plans change again, and we've had to kind of postpone a few things. There's been a few bumps in our road, and we've just had to kind of go with it. And again, instead of getting frustrated by it, or instead of letting it totally derail our thoughts and our plans and our goals, we are now making like a conscious effort to say, okay, we've had to like change roads that we're going down. Things are clearly, like I'll say, well, clearly the Lord doesn't want us to do X, Y, Z. So instead of being upset about it, instead of it just crushing us, we're both recognizing that and saying, okay, so let's pivot, let's turn, and let's take some extra time to do whatever it is we need to do. And I also feel that when you really put your faith in the Lord, He opens up doors or opens up things that you're supposed to do. And I'll say to Simon, well, we'll know what we're supposed to do. Like, for example, if we're needing to go to a campsite, he'll say, well, where do you want to go? And I say, well, I think the Lord is the one that's going to figure it out. And sure enough, it's like, we had to pivot. We picked a different place. And I truly believe that we're supposed to stay around for a little while and just put our faith in the Lord. And the other thing that I wanted to say was it has been very stormy where we are, and it is unnerving at times, living in a van. And so funny, not funny, but I really had an anxious moment last night, and I told Simon, I'm really afraid, because it was super, super windy. And he said, well, what do you think is going to happen? And I said, I think the van is going to fall over. And he said, it's not going to do that. But I found myself throughout the night, I would wake up and I would pray and I'd say, Lord, please stop the wind. If you will it, it can happen. And I was remembering the passage in the Bible where Jesus is asleep on the cushion and the disciples go to him and they say, Lord, Lord, do you not care that we are perishing? I'm sorry, it's not funny, but do you not care that we are perishing? And I just imagine Jesus, getting up and he says, why don't you have faith? And then he stops the wind. And one of my favorite lines of anything in the Bible is when I believe that Simon Peter says, who is this that even the wind, listens to? Jesus rebukes the wind and it stops immediately. So I was praying and I was like, Lord, please stop the wind. Please stop the wind. I'm afraid. I know I'm not supposed to be afraid, but I'm afraid. And the wind stopped. I was like, oh my gosh, the wind stopped. And I took it as, and I mean, it started up again a few minutes later, but it was so quiet and calm for a moment. And I thought, in my mind, I was thinking, I do believe that the Lord can do whatever. And he did stop the wind and it did give me peace. And then it made me think, you're right, Lord, I shouldn't be afraid. I know you're with us. And I just keep in these moments of anxiety, I just keep really praying to the Lord. I know that he's with us and it gives me strength. And it's giving me peace. And I am really enjoying seeing these different little trials we're having to go through, or these different things where Simon and I have to work together, and go through some things that might be difficult physically or emotionally or mentally, and just relying on the Lord, relying on other people. We've had people be very generous with us when we're really needing things. They're really coming through, and it's really helping us to not just rely on ourselves, but, just pray to the Lord and say, what do you want from us? Where do you want us to go? What do you want us to do? We never know who we're going to be affecting either in these times. So I'm excited to see where this is going to take us and how we're going to react. I think already we're learning to work together and, like I say, just put our faith in the Lord. So, it's another chapter of our lives. And like I've said before, I really encourage everybody to not get super stuck in whatever it is they're doing, or if you're having feelings of anxiety or having feelings of you don't know what path to take, you don't know maybe what the next step in your life is, or, I don't know, I just hear a lot from people where they just feel like, what am I supposed to do with the rest of my life? Where am I supposed to go? How can I serve the Lord? How can I serve others? How can I find more peace in my life? I just hope that our travels and our adventures and our highs and lows and our trials and triumphs will help encourage all of you to maybe seek out some of these things for yourself. I mean, you don't have to go in a van. You don't have to be in gale force winds. You don't have to think that, your van's going to tip over. But in your own world, what would that look like? What would it look like if you did something different? If you, tried new hobbies, tried new adventures, tried just some new things in your life, or improve on the things you already have, making things more meaningful, spending more time with friends and family. I know just in the past few weeks, I've gotten closer and closer with my daughter, which has really been, I don't know why that's happening, but maybe the fact that I'm physically leaving is making her realize, how important our relationship is. So already, just in the short period of time, I'm feeling that there's many positives to this, even though it's been trying at times. It's been a struggle, but I mean, I'm happily out in the fresh air, and I find myself, singing my way through the day, or, talking to the Lord and just being very faithful. I'm very reliant on Him. And so I think, this is the start of Lent. And today, as we're recording, this is Ash Wednesday. And I feel like, this will be a very different Lent for Simon and I, because I feel like we're already in the process of, doing a lot of fasting in many ways. And I think this will be a really good Lent, and I think it'll be really different. But, I encourage all of you to try something new this Lent. Try, like I say, I think every Lent should be different, but maybe this Lent just kind of check off different boxes than you normally do. Don't make it just something where it's like, oh, we got to do the same thing we do every year. So our Lent this year will be different, and I will keep you up on what we're doing, obviously. But anyway, I don't know. So, the way that we're doing this podcast now is very different than what we've done in the past, with me being in a studio. One of the things I kind of like about how we're changing this is it sounds like, I'm just having all these thoughts swirling through my head, and I am. And I think that's one of the things that I really like about how, I'm not saying that every episode will be like this necessarily, but this is one of the things that I wanted to do different. We kept telling you Fresh Catholic's going to look different, it's going to feel different, it's going to be different. And I think, that's one of the things is I kind of want to let you in on, what we're doing and how we're doing it. And as these thoughts come to us, they're going to be a little more spontaneous. They're going to be a little more off the cuff. They're going to be definitely regarding what we're going through and how we're going through it, because it's like this van life on the road, fresh Catholic in the wild, I think it's going to be good, because this is kind of how it is for me. Even when I'm not out on the road, I have thoughts swirling through my head every day, but we're just not recording it. We don't have a way to do that. So now that we're out on the road, I think it's going to be where maybe sometimes Simon will start shooting me because I'm having these thoughts, or I'm having these things that I want to share with you. And I want to, just be in this more authentic place and a more peaceful place. And I hope that my hope and my wish for you is that you will also be in a very faithful, peaceful part of your life and part of your Lent. And I wish you all the success in that. And so thank you for coming back. I'm glad we regrouped in the sunshine. So thanks for coming today. Thank you. Love you. Bye. Thank you for joining me today. Now go out and be a bright light in someone's life. And remember, be focused, be faithful, and be fresh.